Welcome to Inside Analog Photo. I'm your host, Scott Shepard. The Inside Analog Photo radio program is all about the traditional photographic process. We talk about all aspects of analog photography, including the hybrid workflow. You can find out more information over at www.insideanalogphoto.com. And of course, Inside Analog Photo is brought to you by Fujifilm, making life more colorful. These guys have the coolest instant photography materials known to mankind. They have, of course, the pack film and 3¼ by 4¼ and 4x5, color and black and white. They have the Instax systems in the wide format, the Instax 210 camera and film, and of course the Instax Mini, both in color film. Beautiful stuff. There's nothing cooler than instant photography. You get a print, because if you don't have a print, you don't have a real photograph. This is great fun stuff. This is great for art. This is great for business. This is cool stuff. You definitely want to check them out over at www.fujifilmusa.com/professional, making life more colorful. Our friends over at DR5 Chrome, black and white, developing that turns your black and white neg into, that's right, black and white chrome. Unbelievable stuff. www.dr5.com. Our official media partner, APUG, the Analog Photography User Group for all things traditional photographic process on the web, www.apug.org, and our official philanthropic partner, George Eastman House International Museum of Photography and Film, over at www.eastmanhouse.org. Today on Inside Analog Photo, we're going to be here with Wendy Laurel. Wendy is a wedding and portrait and family photographer based out of Hawaii. She does beautiful work, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy today's interview. Without further ado, let's go to Wendy Laurel. Wendy, how's it going today?
Good, Scott. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us here on Inside Analog Photo. Great to have you on the program today to talk about yourself and your fabulous analog photography. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Wendy, let's talk about yourself. You're a photographer on the fine islands of Hawaii. I don't know how you got to Hawaii or how you got into this, but I think you're very lucky to be living in Hawaii. So this is great. But let's start off here, Wendy. What got you involved in photography? When did you start? And at what point did you say, I want to be a photographer?
I came to it really late. I always liked taking pictures for fun with friends. I never really even thought of it. And I was very analytical in school. I'm actually a lawyer. I graduated from Stanford Law and graduated with an econ degree from UC Berkeley. And I never did one thing creative in my entire life. And then I went and I had kids. And after I had the third one, I was just kind of stuck in that, well, you might not know, but that world of diapers and no sleep and feeling like I had nothing for myself, to the local community college. And I signed up for a class, and it was black and white, darkroom class here on Maui Community College. I bought a Canon Rebel, and I shot some film and developed some film and did some fun things in the darkroom, and I had a great time. And it kind of all started from that. I just wanted to take good pictures of the kids, and after that, of course, I went straight into digital because that's what everybody was doing. So I had really no background except for that one little class in film. And I started buying digital cameras and taking every class that the local college had, and then I took, and here's where you're really going to laugh at me, I took a year-long program offered by the New York Institute of Photography, where you mail in your pictures and they send you back a cassette tape with feedback, and you go through all these lessons. And I did that when I had 2 infants and a son. And after that, I took a couple classes at the Academy of Art Institute in San Francisco. Then I had another baby, and everything went on hold again. Then I kind of made my way to where I am now, shooting only film.
Wow. I like the higher education classes that you took. So tell me about the thing with New York, and tell me about Art Institute San Francisco. So you actually went to San Francisco and took some classes in person, or there was an online type deal that you could do?
The online, and actually the Academy of Art Institute in San Francisco, I would highly recommend to anyone. Their online program is amazing. You're doing assignments every week. You're uploading your photos. You're watching DVDs and listening to lectures. And you're having real-time conversations with people in the class. I learned a lot, and the instructor was fabulous. It was actually a lot of work, like trying to juggle that and the kids was a lot. But the New York Institute of Photography, that is a male, they might have updated since I took it. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. But it was old-fashioned. They mailed me a bunch of cassette tape. They mailed me a bunch of assignments. And even though a lot of the program was outdated, all the pertinent topics were relevant. Rule of thirds, composition, lighting, subject, aperture. So I really learned a lot of the basics there, and you do it at your own pace. When you're done with the assignment, you print out the photos, you send them in via the mail, and they send you back a cassette tape that has like feedback from the instructor with a review of what you did right and what you did wrong. And it took me about a year to finish that program. But I'm looking back at it, I'm like, wow, you could just go to all these workshops now and learn all this stuff so super fast. But I had 2 babies at the time, and it was fun, and I loved it. So I can't really knock it.
Tell me about the Academy of Art San Francisco course that you took. Was it very expensive to do this type of education?
That one was more expensive. It was more like a regular college class, like you pay by the credit. And I think it would be fun to go back and get my master's in photography or something from that school. But I think there's financial aid available. It's just like any college. You can apply for different things, and there's summer programs. I have a high school son. He's 14 right now, almost 15, and he's a really talented artist. I was thinking about sending him there for the summer for some of their programs during high school.
Really, the programs they have there are great. And I've been over there many times, and the instructors are good. And I find that, like you said, I think you can sign up for like a 4-unit class, and it's a few $100 or whatever, but it's well worth the money.
Oh, it's well worth it. It's definitely college level. It's challenging. It's not just take this picture and let's review it. It's that plus the whole history of photography and what people are doing now. And the other students in there are all very talented and interesting, so you learn a lot from them as well.
Did you find, Wendy, the course curriculum with the Academy of Art that with the history of photography, did you pick up anything from learning about past photographers and traditional art?
Oh, of course. Yeah, definitely. And I teach photography now to a local middle school here. We do photography classes and produce their yearbook, and I have them go through all of that as well because I think it's just invaluable.
How have you found that your JD degree in law and your degree from Berkeley in environmental issues, how has this affected your photography?
I don't know that it has in any way, because I have to admit, even though I'm a lawyer, I'm terrible about releases and contracts. I don't know. I think maybe it's just the way my brain works. It was the technical side of photography that was fun for me to learn, as well as the creative side. But I don't really know that it has helped me in any way.
So maybe just structure on learning?
Maybe. I mean, I was a lawyer for a while, so of course it all came in handy to have those degrees.
Sure. Well, now you can get a master's degree in photography. And if you didn't have a degree already, then you couldn't get a master's degree. So see, you're already one up.
Yeah, I'll have to wait now because I ended up having another child. So now I have 4. So I'll have to put that on the back burner for now.
Well, that's okay. Family comes first, right?
Yeah, family comes first. I mean, that's basically what got me into photography was wanting to take pictures of my kids.
Well, isn't that traditional what it should be? I mean, if you look at photography years past, and the record keeper of the family was the wife, the mother.
Right, yeah, definitely. We have pictures of everybody, everything, doing anything. We have very little video. I'm not a videographer, and to me, that's my husband's job, but he doesn't do it very much.
Yeah, let him do the video. Now, if you started shooting some Super 8 movies,
no,
you should. It's pretty cool. You'll get the bug.
But I'm afraid I'll get lost in it. I don't know how many cameras I have now, but it's getting close to 20, and I don't want to add movie cameras in there, too.
Oh, no, you have gear acquisition syndrome, GAS.
Well, I love the cheap. My first film camera besides the Rebel, which I used the black and white for, was the Lomo LPA Plus. I love that thing. And I have a Diana and a Holga and Olympix XA2. So they're not very expensive cameras, but I love them. And I use them with my clients, and I use them on weddings, and I use them shooting babies and kids just here and there. And I don't know, it gives my photos a little bit of a unique look. Sometimes you don't really know what to expect at times with it. And the colors come out great on those cameras, and they're just so much fun. You just throw them in your pocket and go.
They are, and I have the same issue. I have a lot of plastic little junky cameras, and I've made it my mission to collect every one made almost. To a point. I mean, there's a lot of point-and-shoot stuff that had built-in flash that I don't care about, but any camera that was like garbage with a plastic lens, I've got to have it.
There you go. I mean, some of the best photos are taken from those things. I don't know if you're familiar with the book Hot Shot. You can buy it at Urban Outfitters, and it's written by Kevin Meredith. He's Lomo Kev on Flickr.
Right.
I was in Urban Outfitters one day, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, and saw that book. And I was shooting all digital at that time, except for black and white, because ever since I started shooting black and white, I could never make my digital look like film. So for every wedding or client shoot, I always brought my trusty Canon Rebel with some black and white film in it. So I got that book, Hot Shots, and realized he was shooting all that film. A lot of it was cross-processed. I love the colors. He was using Kodak Ektar and some other films. And after that, I slowly swapped all the film. I realized I just couldn't get the look that I was trying to get all the time with my digital camera. I had to switch to film. So those little cameras, I got his book. I bought Olympus XA2 for, $20 or $30 on eBay. Filled it with slide film, went to San Francisco for a month with my kids, and had my favorite photos ever.
Very inspirational, I think, that so many people get tied up in gear, and they get tied up in got to have the news this and the news super medium format this, when really, and you know this as well, that you can pick up some cheap little plastic camera on eBay for $8, and it's a no-name camera. Or maybe it's a cool 90s version of a panoramic thing that's got a mask in it, or some funky 35 millimeter. But when you get the pictures back, it's like, dude, look at that.
I know, and I think it's because it's film. Like, the film just is going to look good, no matter if it's an $8 camera or whatever. I have a Contax. I have a beautiful Zeiss lens, which I use for weddings, and it's gorgeous. I love that camera. But when I'm going to an amusement park with my kids or to the beach, it's not the camera I bring. There's a place and time for everything, and it's really film. Like digital camera, I can't pick up an $8 digital camera and get a really high-quality photo. And even with my Canon 5D, which was a great camera, it just never looked right. You know what it is? It's a level of satisfaction. The clients were happy, had some great pictures, but when I do the click on the film camera, even the $8 one, and I get back a print I love, I feel a much higher level of satisfaction than I ever felt shooting anything digital. And that right there is the reason that I shoot film. Just personal satisfaction, basically. And it makes me super happy. So I really can't argue with that.
Well, really, it's all about being happy. And if you're happy with your work, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, I love the film. And I love the colors. I love the Polaroid. I love the cross-process. I have one little cheap plastic camera called the Sprocket Rocket, which shoots across a whole film so the image goes across a whole. I have to scan it myself on a scanner at home, but I love that look. It's just a little bit different, kind of funky. It's really fun.
So you have no digital anymore at all? You've completely ditched everything and you're 100% analog, or you still have that tied in the closet?
The 5D went up on eBay a while ago. I found a nice new home in LA. It's being well loved. My only digital camera is my iPhone, which I use occasionally here and there for this or that.
An iPhone isn't a camera, it's a phone. So I figure that the iPhone or any camera phone is cool to shoot with because you can use Histomatic and you can make stuff look like film. But it's a phone, so you haven't drifted from your core route. It's a phone. It's okay to shoot with your phone.
Actually, I shoot with my phone. Not very much. I'm not a big iPhone photographer. I usually have a camera with me. Usually my Lomo isn't far, or a Holga, or something small is nearby. But if for some reason there isn't and there's just something I got to shoot, I got the iPhone. That's what it's for, that and talking and texting.
See, so you're true to the whole film gig.
Yeah, and it's not really because somebody said it should be this way or I think it's cool. I just found after I really learned how to use the medium format camera and how to actually go to a wedding and shoot all film and not be intimidated, that the digital camera just sat in my closet. I just wasn't using it. I just had no desire whatsoever. There's some people that want digital. Like I had another photographer friend here on Maui who's a really talented wedding photographer, and he said, I've got some leftover jobs. I need someone to fill in for me here and there, pay you well, but you got to shoot digital. And I was like, no, I'm just not excited to do that at all. You want me to shoot film? Fine. I have to realize I better sell this Mark II before they come out with the Mark III and the thing loses its value. So I sold it.
Well, you sold it on time, I can tell you that, but you got rid of it, lucky you.
Yeah, I don't really miss it at all.
How refreshing.
Yeah, it is refreshing. I have to say, switching from digital to film was just like when I first had my first child. I have 4 kids, so I'm a full-time mom, big part of my life. When I had that first child, I remember, oh, wow, the world kind of opened up, like blinders were taken off. This is what life's about. Silly me doing all that other stuff for the last 20 years or 30 years. And kind of switching from digital to film was kind of the same thing, like, oh, wow, hey, this is what photography is. These are the things I can do and see. It was kind of like, this is where I need to be. And it just made me really happy to be there.
So let's talk, Wendy, about the happiness that you create. Do you specifically call yourself a wedding photographer? Do you do family portraits? What do you do? Tell us what you like to shoot and what you're shooting, and tell us about Wendy's business and what you're up to.
Okay, I'm going to call myself a people photographer because I shoot weddings. I love weddings. I love people being in love. I love people get dressed up. They have all the details. It's really cool to shoot. I love to shoot kids, and I love to shoot babies, and I love to shoot women, just beauty or fashion. I've done lingerie fashion shows. I don't know what my thing is. I just love to shoot people, and it doesn't really even matter to me. Like some days I feel like black and white. Some days I feel like I want to do this kind of thing. I guess I get bored easily. I like a lot of change, and I love something new all the time. So pretty much anyone calls me wanting me to shoot people, I'm there. I love everything. I like commercials, surf shots. I'm trying to do some of that work right now, and I guess I don't really have one thing except that it's all people. I don't really shoot landscape except here and there for fun to help round out the story or because it's an exceptionally beautiful day in Hawaii. I'm not on the hunt for waterfalls or going up in a helicopter, and that's about it.
Let's talk about this Hawaiian lifestyle. Now, at one point, you must have lived around or near Berkeley because you went to Berkeley. So tell me your thoughts on people and photography in Hawaii, specifically Maui versus, let's say, the San Francisco Bay Area.
Well, okay, San Francisco Bay Area is one of my favorite places in the whole entire world. And I think in a way it's really similar to Maui in that there's a lot of unconventional people. There's a lot of laid back and not going by the rules people, which is what I really like for whatever reason. But the thing in Hawaii I found is we have like these great colors. The skies are blue and the ocean is blue and the palm trees are bright green. It's not muted. It's not vintagey looking unless you shoot it in black and white. I mean, there's warm tones because the sun is golden, but it's really like a technicolored, almost like a cross-process look just living here. And I've always loved that. Like, if I had to live in Seattle or Alaska where there's no sun for days on end, I'd be in trouble. So when I shoot here, I'm always looking at the colors. Everyone loves the golden hour right before sunset, which is really pretty. But I also love to shoot in the morning because the colors are a little clearer then. It's not as warm and the ocean's a little bluer, at least on the side of the island I live on. I live on the west side. So I'm really inspired by the colors here and by the lifestyle. There's a lot of very casual here, a lot of surfers, a lot of skateboarders. There's no suits, there's no ties. Even though I love all the clothes in Anthropology, you can't really wear them here. You're in your shorts and T-shirt almost constantly. You shop for clothes at Billabong. And I just love all of that, and I love to document that. And it's kind of a happier, easier life, I think.
I think it is. Do you find that you get island fever? Does it bother you that you are stuck on this rock of volcano goodness that you can't drive 4 hours into the pit of LA? I mean, I find it really unique that people always say, well, if you move to Hawaii, you're going to freak out, dude.
Well, I've had it like once or twice. I lived here for a long, long time before I even ever felt that island fever. I do know people that get it occasionally. And my dad still lives in Berkeley, and my in-laws live in the Bay Area. And I have a ton of friends from high school and college and law school all in that area. So I end up going back to the Bay Area at least once or twice a year. And when I go there, the first thing I want to do is like go to Berkeley, go to Haight-Ashbury in the city, go see all the real urban grittiness stuff that we don't have here and photograph that. Then I'm good again. I mean, I'd probably stay here without leaving for quite a long time without feeling that. And when I do go away, like I went to Vegas recently and saw you there at WPPI, I'm back within a couple of days, and I'm just so happy to be here. There's just really nowhere else I'd rather live.
How do you find the business is in Hawaii? Do you find that there's just 1,000 photographers because everybody wants to be a photographer in Maui? I have a buddy of mine that's a photographer in Maui, and he finds it somewhat challenging sometimes because everybody wants to be a photographer. So it's like anywhere on the mainland. I guess it's that way in Hawaii. You can go down and buy a camera at a big box store, and now you're a photographer. So do you find this to be challenging, or are you standing out of the crowd because you are shooting film and you definitely publicize this and you say this on your website and your blogs? Do you find people say, I want to have traditional photography done?
Yes, it's like the mainland. Everybody and their brother is a photographer because you can buy a camera pretty inexpensively and shoot it. So yeah, I would hate to even try to guess how many photographers on Maui alone, which is not a big place. Our population is 100,000 people. And if you add into Oahu, too, there's just a million photographers. But there's also a million lawyers. So what are you going to do? As for the film thing, I have been telling people on film, but I don't even know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The clients don't really care. They either just like your work or they don't like it. It seems to me there's a few out there that are like, oh, film, that's super cool. But I think more often than not, it just confuses people. I was thinking about taking it down because I had one lady ask me, so what does that mean? Like you're shooting a video and you just take builds from it? And I was like, oh, no. And I explained to her. But I think that it's such a digital world these days and people are so used to it that even saying you're a film photographer is confusing for people. So I'm not sure if I should be using that as a marketing niche or not. Kind of undecided on that. But there are not many film photographers here. There's a couple on Oahu that are really good. And on Maui, I don't think that there are any other ones. There are some photographers, of course, that have film cameras and play with them for personal work or here and there, but I don't think there's anyone shooting weddings on film except for me. But there's a million photographers, and a lot of them are really good. The one thing I would say about Hawaii in general compared to the mainland, well, at least in what I've seen, a lot more conventional or old school photography. There's not a lot of like the things that you see published in Martha Stewart or real simple, like more of a kind of quirkier photography. You don't see a lot of that here. And I do know when brides are searching, sometimes they're like, hey, I can't find anything that I think is modern or new or fresh. So there is that.
So why do you like the look and why do you like shooting film? What stands out than shooting your 5D Mark II or any other way you could shoot photography? What do you like about what you're currently shooting film?
You know, there's just so many things. The main thing is the look of it and the colors that I get. I was finding with digital, I was spending a lot of time running actions, searching for actions, messing around in Photoshop. And I just shoot the film and it just comes back and it's already got the colors that I just couldn't find in digital. And to me, that's everything. I love black and white photography. And my feeling is, like, if you're going to be shooting color film, there's got to be a reason for it to be color film. I don't want to take a color picture of a tan wall with somebody in beige. If I'm shooting color, let's have some color in it. And I want my colors to be true. If you come to my house, for instance, like my walls are all white and all my furnishings, I like rainbow color. I don't like muted or kind of faded out colors. A lot of the digital photography these days has a lot of warm tones, like guys and the people, everything look really gold, and I just don't like that. I like really clear, bright colors. And the film just has that naturally, at least the films that I'm choosing to shoot with. And so I don't have to think about it. There's a consistency to my work, and if I send it off, even if I send it to Walgreens, which I do for a lot of my personal work on island, the Walgreens here is fabulous. It comes back and I'm done. All I got to do is resize it and post it or print it. I don't have to spend hours messing with it, which I'm a mom. I got 4 kids. I teach at the school. I have clients. I'm busy. I don't want to be sitting at my computer for hours.
So even when you scan your own work, you find the workflow to be fast and efficient and you're in and out?
Yes, the workflow is fast and efficient. I'm in and out. But then, of course, because I never want to do things the easy way, I have to do the Polaroids and the sprocket film and end up spending hours doing that. I find it well worth it. Like I said earlier, there's a higher level of satisfaction for me with the film. And I just feel like I really took the picture. Like if I have to shoot it in digital, I don't feel like I really got it. It just only makes sense probably to myself, but it's just a personal thing and it's a personal level of satisfaction. And I only want to be doing this because I love it. So that's like a huge reason I shoot film is just that level of satisfaction I get. I feel like I really got the shot. So yeah, all that time I used to do post-processing. Now I mess around with Polaroids and sprocket film, but that's fun.
What do you look forward to, Wendy, moving forward with your photography and your future there on Maui? What do you want to do? What haven't you done? Do you do any personal projects? So talk about away from the everyday business of taking pictures of people. What's going on? What's next?
Well, I've got 10 photos that were chosen for a book coming up soon. It's a book coming out of the UK about toy cameras, and they loved my Polaroids. The guy's name is Adam Bronkhurst. He's on Flickr as Brown Horse, and he saw some of my work on Flickr, some of the sprocket photos, and he picked a bunch of the Polaroid and the sprocket photos put in his book. So I'm pretty excited about that. And a lot of that toy camera work, I mean, I shoot it on shoots for the client, with the client. But a lot of it's just for my own personal satisfaction. And a lot of the stuff, I shoot kids all the time, unpaid. I shoot at the school. I use all my pictures in their yearbook. All of it just because I want to do it or because I saw something in that child or in that outfit or in the shoes they wore today. They wear the craziest thing, and I love it. So that part's really fun. But going forward, I'd really like to work for some of the local companies here, doing some of their promotional work on the surf and the skates, on the culture here. I love that kind of thing. And of course, the clients, I love the clients. I love the families and the kids and the babies and the weddings. I want all that to keep coming. No, I'm really happy with everything I'm doing.
Do you do any type of personal project? Do you have something that you're concentrating on?
In terms of a personal project, it's really going to have to be, I would say, just my kids. Like trying to keep up with 4 kids, trying to document the things they're doing. And I'd say, like, my personal projects are more by camera type. Instead of saying, like, oh, I'm shooting X, Y, or Z, it's more like I'm trying to document on the toy camera some of the, like, normal day-to-day lifestyle in Hawaii that we live. The kids going surfing, the kids on their swim team, things of that nature. I'm pretty much a simple girl. My photography, I think, is simple. My compositions are simple. I love a lot of negative space. I don't get too heavy in anything. I mean, I think, like, my personal projects are just the same as my everyday life. I always have a camera. I'm always shooting. You know, there's not heavy, dark, serious personal project I'm involved in.
Any kind of gear that you're lusting over? Is there anything that gear acquisition syndrome is spiking up on here lately?
Yes, there's all kinds of things. I just got the 4x5 with the instant back, so that's exciting. But I'm really lusting over the square format. I don't have a medium camera with a square format like a Hasselblad. So I'd love that. If somebody wants to send that in, I give you my address. I have a ton of stuff to play with, so I'm pretty set. But there's always something. Right now, I'm stuck on the square format. That's what I want. So I expect to start seeing some square format work.
I love the square format. What are you shooting at square? What's your square camera of choice?
Well, I've never really had one. I have a Holga, which I got recently, so that's fun. But then I want to, of course, upgrade on that and try Hasselblad. So what else is there? What can you recommend?
Well, let's see. You could shoot a twin lens camera, so a Rolleiflex or a Mamiya.
That one's on the too.
So you got a twin lens reflex. You have the Holga, of course, or other plastic goodness. You can shoot a Mamiya RZ67 or an RB67. But if you have the RZ, they made a 6x6 back for an RZ.
Oh, see, now, shouldn't have told me that, because now I'm going to be looking on eBay. I want one of those with the instant film back, but, if it comes in square too, well then.
Here's another tip for the RZs, and it works with an RB too. But there's 2 companies. Arca Swiss and another company made a sliding back for an RB/RZ mount. That means you can shoot a portrait on the left side of a 3¼ by 4¼ instant film, and then you slide it over and you can shoot 2 portraits in portrait format, vertical, on one piece of film.
Oh, yeah. Now, of course, I'm going to want that.
And if you go to eBay and just type in Mamiya 6x6, there is a 6x6 back that was made for the RZ. And now you have the option of shooting 6x7. You can shoot 6x6, and as well as shooting the Polaroid stuff. What I find interesting about the RZ RB platform is it's a bellows camera. So you can focus up close without having to have special macro lenses. You just crank the thing out farther. It moves the lens farther away from the film plane, and you can shoot macro stuff without having special lenses or extension tubes and gear.
All right. Well, that one moved to the top of my list now. Thanks.
I'd like to have a Hasselblad just because, but I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the history of the Hasselblad and photographers, but I have this lusting going for a 503 CW.
Yeah, I have friends that have them and love them. But I also have a friend here who has one, and he said he'd lend it to me anytime, so I think that's going to satisfy that.
Well, the problem is if you want to go buy one, you're going to go spend $1,000 plus to try it. The only thing that I find, because, see, I'm sort of hooked on really fast glass. So the fastest glass you're going to find on a Hasselblad is 2.8. But that's the fastest glass you're going to get on a Mamiya because of its medium format. People don't understand the relationship of 35 versus medium. So 2.8 is very shallow depth of field and very fast for a medium format camera.
Yeah, 2.8 on my contact's still really shallow.
Yeah, but it's not as good as 2.0.
It's like hard to put it on 2.8 for me now.
Well, no, you don't put it on 2.8. You just put it at 2.0 and super glue the lens.
Well, there's those group shots, the family formals. You can't do 2.0.
No, well, you can if you get everybody to stand on the same focal plane. When you're not shooting your Contax 645, tell me about your 35 choice.
I love 35. Yeah, I shouldn't leave 35 out. I love 35 because I can take it down to Walgreens and save a whole lot of money. And I know it's just my Walgreens because I've talked to other people, but the Walgreens here is amazing. I don't have to tell them anything, and it's just exactly the colors I wanted. I don't have to do anything to it, and it cost me $8. Well, because I started with Canon. So I had the Canon Rebel, and of course I had some cheap lens with that. And I moved up to digital. I had the 5D, so I had Canon lenses. I have the 50, and I have the 24-70. That's I had from the very beginning. And I have the 135, which I only use when my son's surfing, I think. So because I had those Canon lenses, when I sold the 5D, I got the 1V so that I could just use my lenses still. So I have the Canon 1V with that shoots 35, and I take that to my weddings. That's great. And I take it while my kid shoots because it's got the autofocus. The focus is super fast for those when those kids are running around, I can't control them.
Have you tried the 135 too with portraits?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Lately, I just haven't used the 135 very much at all, except for when my son's out surfing. I put the 50 on it, and I'm just loving the 50 right now. I also have a fisheye, which I use sometimes at weddings. I love that also, in black and white. I think the fisheye is cool.
Yeah, well, really, if you stand back, all you need is a 50.
Yeah, but sometimes I like the little distortion to it, and you get up close to something, like the flowers on the ground and the whole wedding scene, and get everything in there. I don't know. I like to have a lot of different things. If I don't bring all of this up on one shoot, or I'd be totally confused. But I like to change it up and have different options and go for different looks depending on the clients and the setting. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own style, and they all inspire a little something different out of me. I want them to have what's right for them, not just what I want to shoot. So have all these little fun toys. I can't ever get bored.
Well, that's pretty cool that you have such a inspiring outlook on your photography and the openness to want to shoot new gear and try new things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it's really fun. I mean, what are you going to do in life? Get married, you have your kids, get a job. I have something new all the time, or at least I do. I go crazy. So photography is great. I'm either shooting film or getting film back. I almost feel like it's Christmas every day of my life. Like I'm having a really fun time with photography.
That's cool, and I really like that. So let's do this, Wendy. You have beautiful photography. Where can people go get this inspiration? And I know you have a blog, you have a website. Where can people go look at this beautiful photography?
It's really simple. If you just go to my website, which is just my name, wendylaurel.com. From there, you can get to my blog, you can get to my wedding site. Some of the Polaroids and some of the lithography shots I do, I also sell as fine art. And there's links to all of it straight from my website. So it's pretty simple to find me. And of course, I'm on Facebook like everybody else in the world. Just friend me on Facebook. I love friends.
I think they should friend you on Facebook, and you're participating in a couple online groups. So I think if you're shooting film, eventually you're going to be invited over. So I think it's pretty cool. And of course, I really appreciate you joining us today, Wendy, on Inside Analog Photo. Great to hang out in Las Vegas. Great to see your fabulous work and your enthusiasm towards film and just photography in general. It's very infectious, and it's great.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, there you go. Wendy Laurel. Beautiful photography, great weddings, kid photography, the work she's doing with her website. There's a lot of stuff that Wendy's up to, and definitely visit her website and check out what she's doing because she's doing some very cool, beautiful photography. The Inside Analog Photo radio program has been brought to you by Fujifilm for their full line of instant cameras and film, and of course, fine quality Fuji Crystal Archive paper over at www.fujifilmusa.com/professional. Our friends over at DR5 for black and white chrome at dr5.com. And of course, our media partners of the Analog Photography User Group at apug.org, and our official philanthropic partner, George Eastman House, over at eastmanhouse.org. I've been your host, Scott Shippert, here on Inside Analog Photo. We'll be back next week with more great analog photography.